the terrible stuff that he knows about my life. And he seems to, in this packet, there seems to be quite a lot of terrible stuff he knows about.
Behind the gap-toothed grin and playful humor that made America laugh every night for 33 years, David Letterman was keeping score. Every fake smile from a celebrity guest, every entitled demand from a movie star's entourage, every moment when someone mistook his comedy show for their personal therapy session. Dave remembered it all, and he wasn't afraid to let people know exactly how he felt about the stars who made his job miserable. Unlike Johnny Carson, who maintained diplomatic politeness even when dealing with the most difficult celebrities, Letterman wore his emotions on his sleeve. When the cameras stopped rolling and the audience went home, that famous smile would disappear completely, replaced by something much colder and more honest. According to those who worked closest to him, America's most authentic late-night host had zero patience for fake celebrities, difficult stars, and the entitled behavior that fame often breeds. Dave was different from every other host in television history, revealed a former Late Show producer who worked with Letterman for over 15 years. If he didn't like you, everyone in the building knew it. He couldn't hide his feelings, even when he tried. And believe me, there were plenty of times when he didn't even bother trying. For over 3 decades, Letterman welcomed the biggest names in entertainment to his stage, but behind that welcoming facade was a man who kept a mental list of guests he truly couldn't stand. These weren't just personality clashes or creative differences. These were celebrities who crossed lines, disrespected his crew, and treated his show like a stepping stone to promote their latest project without giving anything real in return. The stories that emerged in his later years paint a darker picture of Hollywood's most beloved stars. From pop queens who cursed out his crew to movie stars who treated his show like a joke. These weren't just difficult personalities. These were guests who made Dave's life hell and left him questioning why he'd invited them in the first place. The 9th name on Letterman's secret list might surprise you, because she seems so harmless on the surface.
This is her latest fragrance called Can Can. Take a look at this right there. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the lovely Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton appeared on Letterman's show many times throughout her celebrity career, but their 2007 interview changed everything forever. She had just been released from jail, and Dave thought her legal troubles were fair game for comedy. Before the interview, Hilton's management team had given Letterman a strict list of topics that were off limits. But once those cameras started rolling, Dave ignored their rules completely. What viewers saw was an uncomfortable interview where Paris looked increasingly annoyed as Dave kept making jokes about her jail time. What they didn't see was Letterman's real anger backstage afterward. Dave was furious after that show, said a former producer who was there that night. He felt like Paris and her team had tried to manipulate him into giving her a free pass, treating his show like a publicity opportunity instead of a real interview. After the cameras stopped rolling, Letterman told his staff something that revealed his philosophy about celebrity interviews. That's what happens when someone thinks they're too famous for real questions. If you don't want to talk about your life, don't come on my show. Paris never returned to The Late Show after that night, and Dave never invited her back. The 8th name on his list represented a different kind of problem entirely. Sean Penn was one of Hollywood's most respected actors, known for intense dramatic performances and serious political activism. When he appeared on Letterman's show, viewers expected thoughtful discussions about his films and social causes. Instead, they got some of the most awkward, tense interviews in late-night television history. Penn seemed to hate every minute of being there, and Dave could sense that contempt from the moment he sat down. According to multiple Late Show staff members, Penn made it clear from his arrival that he thought Letterman's humor was beneath him, that comedy was somehow less important than his serious dramatic work. Sean would sit in that guest chair like he was doing us a huge favor, remembered a former producer who worked on several Penn appearances. He acted like comedy was stupid and that Dave's questions were a waste of his time. You could literally see Dave getting more frustrated with each non-answer Penn gave him. The breaking point came during Penn's 2003 appearance when Dave tried to get him to participate in a simple comedy segment involving stupid pet tricks. Penn's disdain was so obvious that even the studio audience could feel the tension. But the 7th name on Letterman's list created an entirely different kind of discomfort. Farrah Fawcett was America's sweetheart in the 1970s, famous for her role in Charlie's Angels, and that iconic feathered hairstyle that defined an entire decade. When she appeared on Letterman's show in 1997, fans expected to see the glamorous actress they remembered from television. Instead, they witnessed one of the most bizarre and uncomfortable interviews in late-night history. Fawcett seemed confused, gave strange answers to simple questions, and acted in ways that left both Dave and the audience completely baffled. But behind the scenes, things were even more chaotic than what viewers saw on television. Farrah couldn't focus on anything Dave was saying, recalled a former stage manager who was present that night. She kept getting distracted by things in the studio, like the cameras and the lights. We had to stop taping multiple times because she would just stop talking in the middle of her sentences. Dave tried his best to keep the interview going, but he was clearly worried about Fawcett's condition and frustrated with her handlers for not preparing him for what he was walking into. After the show ended, Letterman reportedly told his staff that he felt like he had been set up to embarrass a troubled guest on national television. The sixth name on his list represented a different kind of Hollywood excess. Shirley MacLaine was a Hollywood legend with decades of hit movies and multiple Oscar nominations. But when she discovered New Age spirituality in the 1980s, her appearances on Letterman's show became exercises in frustration for both host and crew. MacLaine would talk endlessly about past lives, crystals, and spiritual energy, treating anyone who didn't share her beliefs like they were ignorant children. What really bothered Letterman wasn't her spiritual beliefs themselves, but how MacLaine treated his staff backstage. According to multiple crew members, she would criticize people for their negative energy and suggest they needed spiritual cleansing. Shirley told our makeup artist that her aura was cloudy and that she should try meditation, remembered a former producer. She wasn't trying to be helpful. She was being judgmental and rude to people who were just doing their jobs. The final straw came during a 1989 appearance when MacLaine interrupted Dave during a commercial break to tell him his spiritual vibrations were too low for meaningful conversation. After that show, Letterman reportedly told his executive producer something that revealed his limits. "I don't care how many movies she's made. I'm not running a therapy session here. Book someone who lives on planet Earth next time." But the fifth name on Letterman's list created problems that went beyond mere personality clashes. Harvey Pekar was the writer behind the underground comic American Splendor, which told stories about his ordinary life in Cleveland. His appearances on Letterman's show in the 1980s were supposed to be funny segments about this grumpy everyday guy who had become an unlikely celebrity. Instead, Pekar used Dave's stage to attack corporate America and NBC's parent company, General Electric. What started as quirky comedy quickly turned into political warfare that made Letterman's bosses very angry. Pekar didn't just criticize big business during his interviews. He specifically called out NBC executives by name and accused them of caring more about money than good television. Harvey would sit on Dave's couch and basically attack the people who signed Dave's paycheck, explained a former Late Show writer. Dave tried to steer the conversation back to funny topics, but Harvey kept bringing up serious political issues that made everyone uncomfortable. The situation got so bad that NBC executives reportedly told Letterman to stop booking Pekar completely. After his final appearance in 1988, Dave allegedly told his staff something that showed where he drew the line. "I like Harvey as a person, but I can't have guests who want to turn my comedy show into a political protest. My job is to entertain people, not start revolutions." The fourth name on his list created one of the most dangerous moments in late-night television history. Crispin Glover was known for playing odd characters in movies like Back to the Future, but his 1987 appearance on Letterman became legendary for all the wrong reasons. Glover showed up wearing a wig and platform shoes, acting completely bizarre and speaking in a strange voice. What seemed like typical eccentric behavior quickly turned dangerous when he almost kicked Dave in the head during the interview. The incident was so scary that it changed how late-night shows handled unpredictable guests forever. Behind the cameras, things were even more chaotic than what viewers saw on television. Crispin was acting weird from the moment he walked into the building, recalled a former stage manager who was working that night. He wouldn't talk to anyone normally, and he kept doing these strange martial arts moves in his dressing room. We should have known something was wrong, but we thought it was just an act for the show. After the near-kick incident, Letterman was genuinely shaken and angry. Security had to escort Glover away from the set during a commercial break. Dave reportedly told his producer afterward something that became show policy: "Never again. I don't care if someone is promoting the biggest movie of the year. If they can't act like a normal human being, they don't belong on television. But the third name on Letterman's list hurt him in a completely different way. Joaquin Phoenix was one of Hollywood's most talented actors, known for intense performances in movies like Walk the Line and Gladiator. But his 2009 appearance on Letterman's show left Dave feeling completely used and manipulated. Phoenix showed up looking disheveled with long hair and a thick beard, claiming he was retiring from acting to become a rap musician. He mumbled strange answers, acted confused, and seemed like he was having some kind of breakdown on live television. What made Letterman furious wasn't just the weird interview itself. It was discovering later that the whole thing had been fake, part of a mockumentary called I'm Still Here that Phoenix was making with his brother-in-law. Dave felt like he had been tricked into participating in someone else's art project without his permission, explained a former Late Show producer who worked closely with Letterman. He took it very personally because he thought he was trying to help someone who was struggling, but instead he was just being used for publicity. The second name on Letterman's list created one of the most controversial moments in late-night television history. Madonna was the biggest pop star in the world when she appeared on Letterman's show in 1994, but her interview became legendary for all the wrong reasons. She said the F word 13 times during the broadcast, refused to leave when Dave asked her to go, and seemed to enjoy making everyone uncomfortable. Viewers saw a defiant pop icon pushing boundaries, but backstage staff witnessed something much worse, a calculated attack on the show's crew and reputation. According to multiple Late Show employees, Madonna's bad behavior didn't start when the cameras began rolling. She was hostile and rude from the moment she walked into the building, remembered a former producer who was there that night. She complained about everything: the dressing room, the makeup, even the water temperature. She treated our female staff members especially badly, like they were servants instead of television professionals. What really bothered Letterman was how Madonna seemed to plan her outburst in advance. During commercial breaks, she would smile and act normal, then immediately return to being difficult when they were back on the air. But the number one name on Letterman's secret list might shock you, because she was supposedly one of the nicest people in television. Oprah Winfrey was the most powerful woman in media, beloved by millions of viewers who watched her daytime talk show every day. When she appeared on Letterman's show, audiences expected to see two television legends having friendly conversations. Instead, they witnessed some of the most awkward, tense interviews in late-night history. What viewers didn't know was that behind the scenes, Oprah allegedly treated Dave and his entire staff like they were beneath her, creating an atmosphere of discomfort that lasted long after the camera stopped rolling. According to several Late Show employees, Oprah's demands were unlike anything they had ever experienced from other celebrities. She brought an entourage of at least 12 people who acted like they were protecting royalty, recalled a former stage manager. They gave our crew a list of rules about how to behave around Oprah, including instructions that staff members should not make direct eye contact with her unless she spoke to them first. It was insulting and completely unnecessary. For 33 years, David Letterman made us laugh every night with his gap-toothed grin and playful humor. But behind that famous smile was a man who refused to pretend that every celebrity was wonderful, that every interview was a pleasure, that every guest deserved respect regardless of how they treated the people around them. His secret list wasn't about holding grudges or settling scores. It was about something more important: maintaining standards in a business that often rewards bad behavior, and remembering that fame doesn't give anyone the right to treat other people poorly. Dave's honest reactions to difficult celebrities didn't just make great television. They reminded us that even the biggest stars are just people, and some of those people aren't very nice when they think nobody important is watching.